I've got what promises to be a very nice piece of English brown oak. Maybe I'm going to use this for a tabletop or a stool top, and I want to keep it quite nice and wide. This face looks really quite clean. Bit of water marking at the end, and there's also a split at the end because this was the end of the board. I know I've already taken a piece off of 2 inches to get rid of any contamination. The other side has got black marking on there. This side has come in contact with some steel, and this staining may only be just a 1/16 deep. It could be 4, 5, 6 mil, it could be a 1/4 inch, but I doubt it. But what I want to do is surface the other side, get it so it's flat and it's clean, and leave this damage to be removed later on by the thickness planer. Also, I need to sit this on the bed and see which way it sits most comfortably itself. It sits on there not bad, but it's rocking. What I've actually got is high spots in this corner and this corner. These ones are going to be low, and I think this is also slightly cupped. I think when we plane it, we might end up with a hollow in the middle here, but we'll see as he comes through. If I flip it over the other way with that black mark side down, this actually seems to be rocking all over the place and probably spinning almost from a high spot. That would be quite tricky to plane like that. If I flip it back over, it sits more comfortably this way. I think we're going to be planing with the grain as we push it through. This piece is quite a hard bit of oak. It's now 11 inches wide compared with a little bit of 2-inch soft poplar I had before. I'm probably going to bring my infeed table up a little bit. I'm going to take a smaller skim cut because there's a lot of timber, hard timber to come off in one cut. Also, so the biggest problem with this one, and probably one of the trickiest things to try and plane, is when you've got twist. If I wanted to end up with pieces more like 5 inches wide, I'd be better going to the rip saw or the bandsaw and cutting it in half. That would halve the amount of twist. As it happens, I want to keep this as a wide board. I'm going to try and hold this so it doesn't keep rocking. If I start off by putting my pressure down here and then move my pressure to the back here later on, I could plane this all day long and it'll always stay this propeller shape, which is not what I'm looking for. Also, if I put all my pressure on the front end here and push it through, this corner is going to start getting thinner while that corner remains fat. So what I'm going to try and do is hold this bit of timber halfway between that extreme and that extreme. And this is a technique I use when trying to plane twisted boards. What I'm going to do is use my finger and thumb here to pinch this timber, trying to hold it halfway between the one extreme and the other. When I've got a reasonable amount of timber on the outfeed table, again probably 8 or 10 inches, and I bring my other hand across here to join it, then I will be keeping pressure on this area that I've already got flat, and I think you'll find after 1 or 2 passes the high spots will have disappeared and I'll be able to plane this as a nice flat board. This takes practice, but this is one of the most important things to do, otherwise you will take this nice thick board and just get it really thin, the wrong shape. I'm just pinching the tail end of the board. It's hit on the lip of the outfeed table, so I've just bounced it back over, hands over the bridge guard, trying to stop that board from rocking. It's still in twist, so again my right hand is going to support the back corner. It's now going across much easier, but you can still see the bow in the end and the side of that timber. Just the ends are being planed. A lot of saw marks and bow still to come off. Clean that bed, blow it off. Don't get your hand on the infeed or outfeed table to remove any dust. I can hear progressively the planer is taking more timber off. And it's so much easier to push through. It's not rocking, it's feeling steady on there. It's more like planing a normal board at this stage. Constant hand pressure, constant feed speed will all give a good finish. 80% of it is good, just a slight hollow in the one back edge now. Don't put it down on top of bits of chippings. The flatter it is to that in-feed table, the better and constant feed speed you can push it through with, the better the quality the cut and finish will be. One final pass and the board will be ready for thicknessing. It will need some hand work at the end, hand planing or hand sanding, but within a couple of minutes it's become really flat. This feels really flat, and I can tell it's really flat because there's a suction onto the bed, and that's what you get with a really good flat tables and sharp cutters. If I flip him over, all of that twist has gone, it's clean planed all over. I can now see there's a bit of sap over on that edge, and there's a bit of a split going on here, but I knew that was going to be in there. I've also left this, I always leave them over length and over width. I wouldn't worry at this stage about trying to get a face edge on there. My biggest concern with this board long term is it's flat sawn, very much a tangential board, and as it kind of dries after I've thicknessed it, it could well cup or it could go into twist again. I know there's probably some inherent tension in this board that made it twist originally, unless it was down to poor conversion. So there's a chance it might go again. So I would go and thickness this. I'd probably leave it over thickness by 3 or 4 millimeters. That's 1/8 of an inch or bigger. I would let it settle a week or two, then I would come back and re-plane it flat again and re-thickness it. Before I come back and replane it, I would actually mark it up with a pencil so that when I replane it, I know when all the pencil marks have gone, I've got a nice flat board. It can be difficult to see what are the planing marks from today, what are the planing marks from 2 weeks ago. If you're not careful, you might get a board that looks flat, but actually it's flat and then the corner's dipping away where that twist has come back in. So marking it up means you just know you've got it all flat planed again. You may also hear, when I come to the end of the board, a little bit of a change of tone. That's because we got a slight snipe or heel taken out the end of the board. I would prefer to leave my planer with a slight lower outfeed table giving me a slight heel or snipe than have it perfectly flat, because I know as these cutters wear down, if you get it too flat, your timber will start to raise up and you won't ever get it flat. Also, my boards are always over length. I know there's a split in there, so the fact I've got a little mark across here which is probably no more than a 1/10 of a millimetre, which is really very small as far as inches goes, will just come out later on when we cut this thing to length.